So this is draw a model, the simplest one, using blocks. First question. Well, we're going to show that Alfred had twice. So A has 2 units and B has 1 unit. Now, B had 20 fewer. If B had 20 fewer than C, that also means C had 20 more. So I'm going to reflect that 20 more than B for C. The total is 68. We can form an equation by saying 4 units plus 20 make up 68. So manipulation, bring that positive 20 to the right side, negative 20. 4u is 48, 1u is 12. Now question, how many did Betty have? Looking at this, Betty is 1 unit and therefore we have found the answer 12. 426 shared among A, B and S. City gets 20 more than B. So I'm going to show that City has 1 unit and 20, B has only 1 unit. Annie 35 fewer than Bala. So whatever Bala is, I'm going to draw Annie as a shorter bar. Shorter by how much? 35. So if I can show 35 within this bar like this, I can also show 35 above like that. So now 1 unit is just simply this part here. 1u, 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 35, 2 of them, and 20. So the total, bearing in mind, is 426. We can form an equation from here, which says 3 units plus 2 35s plus 20 make up 426. So simplify 2 35s, that's 70. Combine these two, we will get 90. Move it to the right hand side, that's minus 90. So 3 units is 336, 1 unit is 360 divided by 3, 112. Question, how many does Annie receive? So according to the diagram, this is 1 unit and we have our answer of 112. So let's show that Joe had 4315 more than Kim at first. Now I'm going to show Kim giving Joe 268, so 268 is being removed. Now if I can draw 268 here, I can also draw 268 above. Now I'm going to move that 268 to Joe as shown here. The question is, how much more did J have than K in the end? So remember, this portion here is no longer there. So Kim actually has this. Joe, however, has this 1 unit here. On top of that, this part here. So this is the difference that the question is asking for, which is 2 268s and 4315. So the difference that we are interested in is this part here, and therefore the equation is 2 268s, 4315, giving us 4815. So 5 more in 5A than 5B. So I'm going to show 3 being transferred from B to A. Now if I can draw 3 below, I can draw 3 above like this. Show that 3 is being transferred. Question, how many more in the end in 5A than 5B? So that is simply 2 3s and a 5. Well, City had 60 more than her brother at first. Show that she gave 10, so 10 goes away and shows up down there. Now, we can do something about 60 minus 10, yeah? That's 50. So I'm going to fill in 50 in there. Question, how many more does City have than her brother right now? So the difference is between, really, because this unit here, they are the same, so there's no comparison there. Where you have a difference is where you have this 50 and 10. Well, what's the difference? It's 50 minus 10, so that's $40. Well, first step is to show that A had 52 more than C. Now, B has twice of Candy, so whatever Candy has, double that for Bala. Next, total is 448. So we can form an equation here, 4 units and a 52 make up 448. So move that 52 over, that's a subtraction. Then we find 1 unit. And looking at the diagram, Amy's share is not 1 unit, Amy's share is 1 unit plus 52. So do that addition and you will arrive at 151. So A had 3 times as much as C, so 3U and 1U. John had double as much as Amy. So whatever Amy has, that's 3 units. John has twice of that. So take 3 units times 2, that's 6 units. Now the difference between J and C is 85. So in terms of the diagram, what's the difference? It's actually 5 units. So 6U minus 1U, that's 5U, and that's 85 actual dollars. So we can form an equation with that. 5U is 85, 1U is 17. Now, pay close attention. We are looking at C and A. So that's a total of 4 units. And if 1U is 17, 4U must be 4 times 17, giving us $68. So A is twice as heavy as B. So A, 2 units, B, 1 unit. C is 3 times of A. So whatever A is, which is 2 units, triple that. So C has 6 units. Now, we are given that the difference between C and B is 50 grams. So in terms of the diagram, the difference here is 5 units. And that represents 50 actual kilograms. So forming an equation, 5U is 50 grams, 1U is 10 grams. What is the mass of A? That's 2 units, therefore 20 grams is the answer. So MSW had 85, S had 5 fewer than W, also means W had 5 more. So S having fewer means W having more. Merrill had 4 times as many as Willow. So what that means is we will take whatever Willow has and M has 4 times of that. So 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, so 4 times of whatever W has. So now we know the total is 85. Counting the units, we know that that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 units. And how many 5s do we see? 5 of them. 2, 4, 5. And equal to 85. So simplify and find out that 1 unit is 10. How many stickers did Samantha have? That's 1 unit. Therefore, the answer is 10. Well, A was 5.2 less than B, which also means B 5.2 heavier. Now, B was less than C, so that's C being 4.3 heavier. Total is 97.2. That means we can form an equation. So that's 2 5.2s and a 4.3 and 3 units. So do the multiplication and addition, subtraction, followed by finding 1 unit. And because we're asking for Alvin's mass, we're interested in 1 unit, and the answer is 27.5. So there were 6 more pinks than yellows. So pink, 6 more than yellow, followed by 4 times as many greens as yellow. So whatever yellow is, draw 4 of that, and that's green. And the total is 120. So forming an equation, we have 6, 120 minus 6, and that's actually 6 units. So 1U is 19. How many yellows? And we just want 1 unit, so the answer is 19. A level 2 question. Natalie reads 350 pages in a week, so that's 7 days. Now, every day, 5 more than the previous. So we don't know what the first day's reading was. Let's call it 1 unit. So the next day will be 5 more than that, which is 1U plus 5. And the next day will be 1U plus 10, so 5 more. So every subsequent day, you increase by 5. And for 7 days. Then note that the total is 350. Now you have to count and form an equation. So that's 7 units, okay? And add up all the real numbers here, giving us 105. So take that away from 350, and that represents 7 units. So 1 unit will be division by 7, 35. Question. Now this is where making everything clear here is useful, because they want what was read on the last day. So we can see easily that it is 1U plus 30 that we're interested in. So 1U is 35, 1U plus 30 therefore is 65. So K had 15 more than L at first. So K had 15 more than L at first. Now after K gave some money, so there's going to be a transfer of money to L. Okay. Now, he had 21 less than Lisa. If you think about it, let's say K gave 15 to Lisa. Then this block here, 15, would move here to L, yeah? Which means L would have 15, K would have 15 less than L. Okay, so if this block moves down, K will have 15 less. So, if K had 21 less, doesn't that mean that whatever was given was more than 15? So I'm expecting what's given to be longer than that. What's been given is not just the 15, but an unknown amount as well. Let's call this 1 unit. So what will happen is this 15 will be given to L, And this unknown 1 unit will also be given to L. Now don't forget, if I show that this is given as 1 unit, I can draw 1 unit below as well. In fact, I should. Now I'm going to show that the difference after was 21. Okay, so with this, we can form an equation. Take 21 minus 15 and divide by 2. I'll get what's 1 unit. Yeah, so let's do that. 21 minus 15, that's 6. 2u is therefore 6. 1u is therefore 3. Now, how much was given to L by Ken? Now, what's given is this shaded part here, which is 1 unit plus 15. Since 1 unit is 3, then 3 plus 15 is $18. F had 3 times as many as A, so 3 units for F, 1 unit for A. M had 15 fewer than F, so whatever F had, minus 15. Now I've drawn this bar here to be of a weird length because I don't want to make it look like it's 1 unit or 2 units. It's an unknown. What I do know is that it's 15 shorter than 3 units. The total is given as 195. Now here is where we have to do a bit of thinking. If currently the total is 195, if I were to add 15 to the total, in other words, if I were to fill this up to be a solid block, it would look exactly like 3 units, wouldn't it? If I were to add 15, it would look exactly like Fatima's units, 3 units. That means the total would be 3u, 1u, and 3 units. So that's 7 units. Now we can work with that. So if I add 15 to the total, it's no longer 195. It's 7 units equal to 210. 1 unit is 30. Question. We want Mandy's share. So Mandy's share is therefore 3 units minus 15. So let's find 3 units, which is 90, minus 15. That gives us 75. So A had 8 more than B, and 13 more in A than C. So we know that C is definitely shorter than A by 13. Okay, so I can show that if you want to show a difference of 13, that would be 8 and 5. So having drawn 5 over here, we can draw 5 below right there. Okay, and recall that the total is 248. Form an equation that is 13 minus 8 giving us 5. That's how we got the 5 here. Okay, so that's a total of 2 5s and an 8. That's 18. Take 249 minus that will give us 3 units. 1 unit is 77. How many in box A? So that is 1u plus 5 plus 8. And that gives us 90. A had 54 more than B at first. Now, there must be a transfer such that B would have 10 more than A in the end. Well, let's just imagine what it would be like to be equal. That means this 54 here will have to be split equally into 2. Well, 54 divided by 2 is 27. So imagine there's an equal split here and one of that half is given to B. So the end result would be this. 1 unit plus 27, 1 unit plus 27. That's the 54 being split into 2. Now, we know that B had more than A in the end. So even more will be given. So how do we show that? Okay, we have to show that 5 would be transferred over to B. And this is how we obtain B having 10 more in the end. So don't forget, we transferred 27 earlier, and now we are transferring another 5. So the total that's transferred must be that 27 and the 5, meaning 32 in total transferred. That's it. So Anna bought 12 files and James bought 7 files. So these are of the same files, just that it's 12 up here and 7 down there. Now, he bought 4 pens. Now, that's a different object, but thankfully, they told us it's $2.50 each. So we can find out how much dollar value was actually spent. And it's $10 spent by James. Okay. Now, James spent $3.50 less than A in all. So this is a difference of $3.50. Now, what that means is we can say the difference between 12F and 7F, which is 5 files, 5F, is equal to the sum of 10 and $3.50, which is $13.50. So we can find out exactly what 5 files cost, $13.50. Now, how much did James spend, says the question. So we are actually interested in the total spending by James, not the dotted line here, not the broken part here, okay, but this solid line here. 7F plus 10 is what we're interested in. So let's find 7F, which means $18.90. So we are going to now add the $10 to it, giving us $28.90. Jen had 250 more than I at first, so that's the difference shown there. Now, J gave I 180. Now, this real number portion here, yeah, we can afford to give 180. So let's show that. 180 subtracted and given to I. Now, we also can find out the empty portion here. That's 70. 250 minus 180, that's 70. Now, we are told then that I had twice as many as J after that. So knowing that this $180 portion is gone, we're going to show it this way. And this 180 can be written as 70 and 110. Why? Because 70 up here, we can also write 70 down here. And since we know it's 180, we can split it up to 70 and 110. At this point, we can show that whatever J had in the end is 1 unit, and whatever I had in the end is twice, which means this is 1 unit and this is 1 unit. So from here we can tell that 1U represents 110. Now we want I at first. This is where the diagram here is very useful. So we are interested in this actually, which is I at first. Now having obtained 1U is 110, we will subtract 70 to obtain this part here. So we shall do that. The answer is 40. Well, there were 450 oranges, 280 apples, and an unknown number of pears. Well, first thing we can do is find out the difference, which is 170 between oranges and apples. Next, I'm going to show an equal number of oranges and apples being thrown away. So shaded away and shaded away. Now the result is that the oranges left was 3 units 3 times, and apples left was 1 unit. So 2 units therefore is that difference of 170. And because of that, we can find 1U being 85. And 85 is actually the number of apples left. Okay, with that information, there were 90 more pears than apples left. In other words, if we have 85 apples left, okay, the number of pears is just 90 more than that. So we have found that unknown. Pears is 175. Next up, oranges left will therefore be 3 units, which is 3 times 85, 255. How many fruits were left? So we know apples left. We know pears left 175, oranges left 255, apples left 85. Sum that up and we have the answer. So Wilmer had the larger amount, so we'll draw a longer bar. Now each of them spent half of what they had originally. So think of W being split in half and think of T being split in half. Okay. Now, the difference is 168, but before that, let's redraw to make it easier to understand. So, imagine this is the situation right now. W spent half, T spent half, which means W had half left, T had half left. The difference between them was 68. So, what's left behind? The difference is 68. Now, if I can do this, can I not do it the same thing here? Because after all, it's half, yeah? Which means whatever's left is the same as whatever was spent. So I can reflect that. 68 is on the other side as well. Now, the total is 208. What that means is we can take 208. We're going to fill in the blanks here. Let's pretend we add 2 68s. So put it in here, 68. Plant another 68 here. So the total is no longer 208. It's actually 344. Now, why do we want to do that? Because then we have 4 very nice units of W. Can you see that this is, let's call this 1W, okay? 1W, 1W. If I fill in a 68 here, this is another W. If I fill in a 68 here, that's another W. So that's a total of 4 W's, 344. 1 W is Oh no, let's find 2 W's. Why? Because Wilmer at first, that's 2 units of this. So that's going to be 172. Well, draw a model using blocks level 3. There are 4 children in the Cole family. Kathy is younger than Chris. So I'm going to draw Kathy being shorter and Chris being longer by this difference. Next, W is older than Kathy. So what we can do is draw what we have, but add on top W being older than K. So let's have a much longer bar than K. Next, this is what we currently have, and now there's a new piece of information. J is younger than W, so that's shorter than W. J is shorter than W, but older than Chris. In other words, for J, the bar must be longer than C, but shorter than W. Because we have drawn the bars like so, we can actually rank them according to our third child. Okay, so the first child will be the oldest one, that's W, the longest bar. The second longest bar would be J, second child. The third child would be the third longest, which would in this case be Chris. Alright, so A and K older than M, so I'm going to write A and K above M. Is there a reason why I'm writing A and K instead of K and A? Not really. I don't know what the difference between A and K at the present, but I do know both of them are older than M. Therefore, both of them on top of M. Next, A is younger than V. Okay, so currently I have AKM. A is younger than V. Hang on, at this point A is the oldest according to my arrangement. But because A is younger than V, that also means V is older than A. So I'm going to take my AKM, put it down here, and V is right on top. Okay, next, K is older than V. Uh-oh. If K is older than V, K shouldn't be down here, should it? K should move all the way up. Then V, even older than V. So at this K has to be shifted all the way up. And now the order is correct. So the according from the oldest, that will be K, V, A, M. The pupils at a camp are divided equally into A and B. Now, what this tells me is that the total pupils in A is equal to the total pupils in B. Now, so first we are told that A, 18 more boys than girls in Team A. Next, in Team B, there are 8 more girls than boys. Now, where did I get this from? Bearing in mind that the camp was equally divided, the teams had equal numbers of students. Okay, so if this is 2U plus 18, Team B must also total up to be 2U and 18. And the way all I had to do was to redraw that portion of representing 18 and make it look like there were 8 more girls than boys. And the way you do it is write an 8 here and what's left behind 10, and that's going to be split equally into 2, so that's 5 and 5. Next, how many more boys are there in A than B? So let's look at boys in A versus boys in B. Oh, the only difference is just this 18 and 5. So difference in boys is therefore 18 minus 5, giving us 13. Next, there are 37 boys at the camp. So what this tells me is that there's going to be 2 units, 18 and 5. So 2 units, 18 and 5 make up 37, giving us 2U equals to 14, 1U equals to 7. But let's see, how many girls are there? Now, when it comes to girls, I'm interested in 2 units plus 5 plus 8. So if 2U is 14, then total girls must be 2 units plus 5 plus 8, getting us 27. Leah had 22 less than Emma, which also means Emma had 22 more. Next, Leah spent 1/6 of her money. Now, we would normally reflect that by showing Leah having 6 units and shading 1 unit, right? Spent 1/6. So 6 units, shade 1 unit. Okay, next, Emma spent 1/4. So how will we do that? We would shade 1/4 of this and 1/4 of the real number portion, the $22. Shade 1/4 of that. Now, this is actually the same length of bar. So why should this be 6 units and this be 4 units? Because they should be the same, because it's the same length. So why don't we turn 1/6 into 2 out of 12 and 1/4 into 3 out of 12. That way we can show that this is 12 units and we will shade 2. This is 12 units, we will shade 3. So let's do that. So 2 12s spent, 10 12s left. 3 12s spent, 9 12s left. Now, to effectively show that Emma spent 1/4, right, we must also do the same for the real number. In this case, 22, same thing. 3 12s spent, 9 12s left. Now, Emma had spent $8 more than Leah. Now, Emma's spending was $8 more than Leah's spending. So let's see what we can do about this. So Leah's spending is therefore 2 out of 12. Now think of this as 2 units out of a total of 12 units. Now what's Emma's spending? Emma's spending is actually 3 units, and on top of that 3 12s of $22. So this is 3 12s of $22. That's a real number right there, and it's $5.50. After we're told that this is actually $8 more than 2 units, we can say therefore that if we add $8 to this, it would be the same as this. So adding $8 to 2 units would be the same as 3 units plus $5.50. So at this point, we're going to solve for 1 unit. So this is 3u, keep it on the right hand side. 2u goes over, negative 2u. $8, keep it on the left. Positive $5.50, bring it to the left, negative $5.50. That means 1 unit is $2.50. How much money did Leah spend? Now, Leah's spending is actually 2 units. We have just obtained 1 unit. So Leah's spending is therefore 2 units. 250 times 5, $5. What's the total sum of money the girls had left? So we're interested in the unshaded portion. Now, we are interested in 19 units plus 9 12s of $22. So that's how we obtained 10 plus 9, so that's 19 units. And 9 12s of $22 is $16.50. Now, the other way of obtaining this $16.50 is simply taking $22 minus $5.50. Now, since we know 1 unit is $1 unit is $2.50, 19 units must be 19 times 2.5 plus $16.50, giving us $64. And that concludes Draw a Model using blocks. Hopefully you have found this tutorial helpful.